Thank you again. Good morning. It's my big pleasure to be here. Thanks, CGA, for the invitation. I will come closer to you because I have some very difficult questions to make to the audience. And I will always start my questions from the last row. So be comfortable here in front. You're not going to start from the last row. So first of all, CGA is an association that you should be proud of. I work a lot with associations in Brazil, in the US, in other countries, and I was just telling the new CEO that it's a benchmark for the world. So congratulations for what you have. And it's also a big pleasure to be here in South Africa. I think it's my 20th visit. I had the chance to speak in more than 15 cities here. I love the country. I love the way you receive people. And I'm very happy to tell you that I have 3 daughters. So you can see how difficult my situation is in terms of budgeting, you know, in terms of controlling expenses and all these kind of things. And each daughter can choose a country to celebrate the 15th anniversary. And my third and my youngest daughter has chosen South Africa. And she is here with us. So this is a nice visit. I'm not going to ask her to stand up because she will kill me later on. So don't look at her, but she is here. So I think I finished my time already. This was my presentation. Thanks a lot for your attention. But let me talk a little bit more about the citrus industry and how can we win in a tough situation. And it's always very emotional for me to be here in this particular building because CGA gave me a chance to launch a book, and it was here, the one on the right side, as you can see. So these 2 books are available for you in PDF. You can download from the website that we have. I'm going back so you can take notes of the website. It's DoutorAgro.com, and over here you can find more than 70 books, all for free. You can find our videos, and if you want to follow in Instagram, you're going to see your picture already over there in Instagram. It's the same address. You just put @DoutorAgro and start following. You're going to see what we're doing, information that we're bringing from Brazil, and it's going to be a pleasure to be connected with you. So make sure you download the books, the articles, because again, it's all for free. It's all to improve knowledge for people. This is what we like to do as professor, as someone in business also. So I prepare 4 topics for you. Each topic will last around 1 hour. And I plan to finish before coffee break in the afternoon. So I'm very happy that most of you guys have a lot of food during the break now because we're going to go further and discuss a lot about the industry. I'm joking, it's 10 minutes each one. So the first one, I came closer to you because I need to ask you a question and create a motion to make you guys wake up. And the question is very easy. I'm going to show you a picture. And I want the ones that use this equipment to raise your hand, just for me to have an idea of the average age here. I have people that is lying. We should be very ethical in our behavior. I'm going to ask the question again, and I want a neighbor to point someone that's lying. Who uses this phone? Raise your hand, please. Do we have people lying? No. So the vast majority. Second question, who did a collect call? Do you remember what was a collect call? Yeah? So you have a homework. When you go back after this wonderful event, ask someone 15 years old or 20 years old if they know what is a collect call. Maybe in 5 years from now, they're not going to know how to write anymore because it's going to be all digital. So I am a person that was able to do a collect call using this phone. And there's a very funny curiosity in Brazil. When I was traveling and I had to tell my parents that I arrived, I did a collect call. And if we hang the phone in less than 5 seconds, the company wasn't able to charge. So then, Daddy, I just arrived. Bye-bye. So then it was, remember the cost when we traveled, the cost of the calls, the phone bills that we had to pay? Now it's everything for free. I can have dinner, traveling dinner with my wife, having a wonderful pinotage, live on our computer, and we can stay 1 hour for free. So incredible changes, but how can we link these changes to agribusiness? This is what I'm going to show you. Oh, remember our iPhone minus 15? Do you remember it? I forgot that I had this picture also. So look what happened in the last 30 years. Now we have a chance to know which American poultry farmer produced the poultry that we're eating at home. It's just to point our phone, we have the picture of the happy family that produced it for us. We point our phone and we can see, this is a project that we manage in Brazil, we can see the cotton farmer that produced the cotton of the t-shirts that we're using. And I used to do collect calls. Now I have to deal with this type of situation. Or we have more than 400 of these machines already working in Brazil. I don't know if you have them here. What is this machine doing? This machine has a agricultural engineer inside, has a technical guys inside. This machine is doing diagnosis of your property, and it's pointing what you have, and it's applying products just over the weed, and not, as I learned 30 years ago as an agronomist, that for a certain weed we should put a certain amount of gallons or liters per hectare, fertilizer per hectare. No, not anymore. And during the night, what is this machine doing? It's attracting the insects, and it is giving electrical shock and controlling the insects. So I asked, these guys are Cubans that live in Brazil. They created this machine. I asked these guys, why don't you create something that can attract the psyllid? And then we have a different situation towards greening. And he told me, we are almost there. I hope so. Then we have a totally different story for what I'm going to tell you regarding the future of our industry. So what to expect in the next 5 years? First message that you're going to take is from collect call, from everything that we can do online and all the data that is available for all of us. What to expect, and then there's something new in the world. Being very respectful here. I think that the world in the last 4 to 5 years, we already had so much confusion. So much. It's a time that I call the 3 V's, the violent variation of the variables, the exchange rate and everything. And now we have turbulence, more turbulence, or trumpulence. It depends how you want to tell it. But of course, we are all expecting a nice job. There's a lot of things in his agenda that I agree, and I think we should improve, and I've seen the previous presentations here. It's also an agenda for South Africa in terms of efficiency, in terms of putting our industry up again, making it competitive. So there are several things here. I'm not criticizing at all, but he creates one surprise per day. And this is relatively interesting. I wouldn't say funny, but it's interesting for us to follow every day what will be the new measure that's going to switch the trade and all these kind of things. So I've never seen as a businessman such a complicated scenario that you are all facing as farmers and also as the juice industry. And I summarized it in one page so you can take a picture, and that's the resume of what I think and what I desire you to see the impact in your business. So we are tired of talking about climate events, environmental issues, risks of pandemics in human, in animals, like in pork, in poultry, in beef. We are all with that risk. What's happening now in the US, there's no eggs anymore in the US. The problem is linked to that. Wars, we're here. There's war going on in the world. There's invasion. There's cyber attacks. Imagine when you were doing a collect call, if someone would tell you there will be a cyber attack. You don't even know what cyber is. Something to drink? What the hell is this cyber attack? So political situation, duties, taxes, immigration. Migration is going to be a tough policy if Mr. Trump puts up what he was planning in the US, because you know more than a third of the labor in agriculture in the US is coming from migrants, and some of these are illegal. We have the global economy, inflation, exchange rates, debt, interest rates, which is a disease for agriculture, high interest rates. Brazil at this moment has a record interest rate. It's a disaster if you see how much a farmer pays per day in interest. It's incredible. Then you have the disruption of supply and demand. Remember, US farmers, what happened to the fertilizer industry 3 years ago, to the crop protection industry. China ports closed, and then we need the active principles to do the chemicals, and then the prices skyrocketed, and then the prices came down, and then the cooperatives build inventories, the dealers build inventories, they bought things for $3,000, and now the new price is $1,500. All this mess that you have seen here in South Africa, we saw in Brazil, and we worked to try to save companies. Stress in logistics, which is terrible for CGA and for the South African fresh fruit chain. We have a big problem in the world today with containers. Containers are on the limit because one guy with one drone, he can make a vessel not cross anymore the Suez canal, or the Panama because of the water, and then it's going to take 10, 12 days more to come and say hello to us here in Port Elizabeth, give all the round in Africa, and that's the problem. A container taking 12 days more, it's going to be a problem for all of us. So it's one of the big risks that we have. Technological innovations, AI, consumer pressures, image, increasing pests and diseases, and something that is very, very linked to Brazil and not here to South Africa. I'm here for some days discussing with the industry. We are, in our country, at full employment. So the problem, number one nowadays for farmers in Brazil is labor. We just finished the strategic plan for the poultry and pork industry. And so just for you to have an idea, there's 20,000 positions open in the slaughterhouses waiting people to come and to work. So we are being benefited by people from Venezuela and from Haiti that are migrating to Brazil and helping agriculture. So this would be one of the worst problems that we have to deal nowadays. So this is the second part, what you can expect from 25 to 30. The mess will continue. We're going to see disruptions, we're going to see a lot of things, and you have to build up plans, to build up your scenarios, to protect the industry, protect yourself from what is going on. So which idea could we have in order to have more control of containers for your industry? Yeah, if you look at the Brazilian industry, all the vessels are owned by the companies. So they it doesn't bother them if a container goes to $18,000. Because they have all the structure to take the product until Europe. So should we think a little bit more in possibilities in having more control over logistics? That's the point for the future, because it's not going to get easier. It's still going to be complicated. Talking about our industry there's a sad story to tell about our industry, because if you are working in food and agribusiness, you can see that there's growth all over. I could follow what happened in Brazil in the last 30 years. And then you look at soybeans, you look at corn, you look at beef, poultry, everything going up, and orange juice going down. It's the only one that went down. Cotton went up, everything, paper and pulp, all the food chains, agribusiness chains going up. And orange juice is the only one that went down, because of things that you have here also and are difficult for us to try to solve. So it's all over the media, the prices skyrocket, and the problem is linked to supply. We have a structural problem linked to demand, because demand of orange juice is falling in the world. We had very accurate numbers of that, because Why? Why does it fall since it's so good? It's liquid food. It's good for our diet. It falls because there's a lot of beverages being launched. When we were doing our collect call, we could have a soft drink, Coke, or orange juice. Imagine how many beverages can we have now. So that's the worst disease. A lot of competitors came in and disturbed the market of orange juice. Not coffee. This didn't happen to coffee. Didn't happen to tea. But it happened to juice. So if you look at, I built up a resume of numbers for you to see the last 20 years, from 94 to 2024. Look at Brazil. Brazil had productions of 400, and I'm talking here of boxes of 40.8 kilos, okay? Just convert so you can understand. Brazilian production was sometimes 450 million boxes. 317 when you consider the whole country, not only the fruit that is going to juice. Look at the USA, 264, 63. And then you have all the other countries. So this is global orange production. Now if you move to the orange that goes for juice, the situation is even worse. Because Brazil used to have 240, 250, now 229. USA, 207 to 24. So it was one of the worst things that we could see in an industry. It's what happened to Florida. Florida almost disappeared. It was so important. Still has a wonderful structure of research. One of the best marketing programs I've ever seen in terms of stimulating consumption of juice. But then the supply disappeared. Then you have here the world orange juice production. And if you look at what we had, inventories are at the lowest level ever. Brazilian Citrus BR just released the numbers of inventories, and they are the lowest ever. We're going to probably be in June without juice at all in the inventories. And this brings a lot of trouble, as I'm going to show you here. Why this happened? This happened because mostly of greening. So one thing is the consumption. Consumption declining is because of new beverages. And then you go to production. Production is facing huge problems because of greening and because of the weather, as I pointed out in that slide resume of the very confused world that we have. So look at what happened in Brazil this year. We had a huge drought, extreme high temperatures, and the suffering of the oranges that you can see here. This is taking us to one of the lowest crops ever seen in the country. And as a consequence, juice prices at $6,000, $7,000 a ton in Europe. And that will bring another problem. That is how these very high prices of orange juice will affect the consumption that was already declining. So you see, it is a tough situation here. In terms of demand by consumers, as I told you, now we have some graphs to show you what's going on. So the global orange juice demand declining, as you can see, and the US orange juice market also declining. Remember that it went up a little bit because of COVID, people searching for immunity. So I think it had a 7% growth in 1 year, but then it declined again as soon as we got free of this terrible moment where you couldn't have the meetings of CGA because of those pandemics that were a disaster for our lives. So the consumption declining, and what can we take home? For you as a resume, again, a one-page resume, I'm going to offer you 3 one-page resumes so you can see and remember what I told here. Florida, devastating effects of greening, hurricanes, and also urbanization. Everyone wants to live in Florida. So all the gated communities going on, building over where you had oranges. Then we have idle capacity. There's no value of the assets because there's no fruit. So do you want to buy an orange juice factory in Florida? There are some for sale. What are you going to do with that? Maybe a convention center or whatever. There's no use, unfortunately, because there's idle capacity. The same thing in São Paulo, which is the most important player in oranges in the world. São Paulo has nowadays 47% of idle capacity. So you see, everything is being used by half. So you lose efficiency. You lose efficiency because you have an asset, but you only occupy 50%. You have this room here, but it's only half occupied. The other half is being paid, is using electricity, is using air conditioning, but you're not occupying it. So that's the idea of what we see in the industry. I don't see alternatives to substitute what happened in Florida and what is happening in São Paulo. So the Mexican industry, Spanish, Brazilian Northeast, I don't see this as possible alternatives to get the bulk, the volume that is needed for supply to meet demand again in terms of orange juice. Then we have a decline, as I told you, in consumption. Maybe we missed, not the US. The US did a wonderful job, but maybe in Europe we missed a good communication of what is orange juice. I went several times to Europe, and 1 liter of private label juice sold at European supermarkets was the same price of 1 liter of water. It doesn't make sense at all. So the industry did not work as it could in order to show society that that's a liquid food. That's nutrition that you are receiving. Juice should not be competing with flavored water, with other nectars, other beverages. Juice should be competing with cereal bars. That's my opinion. That's where it should be, because it's going to offer you nutrition for a certain amount of time. It's not in the thirsty business, it's in the nutrition business, and we did not work that way. Maybe that's the only solution that we have now, that we have just a portion of the product. We must go to premium and then advertise well, and I think that's also a big chance. I had an opportunity, wonderful opportunity yesterday to make a conversation with South African juice industry, and I went to the supermarkets here, and different from Brazil, that the internal market is coming well, and we have a 100% premium juice being sold at very high prices and going well. I haven't found it here in 3 supermarkets, so I think there's a chance to work, as we could see in the previous presentation about economy. There's several African cities with a huge urbanization process, with a lot of income, and I think this is a market that the industry is not looking at, and it could look following the huge success of what happened in Brazil. I gave even some websites for the industry to visit. One is Prats, and the other one is Natural One. So you're going to see the packaging, and the juice is outstanding. Of course, you have some bricks problems here that should be fixed and other things, but I would say that one big opportunity is to work in the internal market for the very premium 100% juice with a logo of CGA, with a concept of sustainability behind, and other things that could be used. So this is the citrus industry. And now to finish, I want to handle you as a professor. I want to give to you a homework. So you're not leaving here without a homework, and that's what I work a lot with farmers, cooperatives, and associations in Brazil, because you should be surviving in turbulent times. And the last part is this. So we talked about the incredible changes in the world. I told you guys what to expect from the next 5 years. I told a little bit about the future of the citrus industry, and now we're going to finish with your homework of how farmers win. But probably there's a question. Do you think Brazil will come back in terms of volume of products? Do you think we have chances to expand here in South Africa? I think yes, but not in the speed that is needed, because what's going on with juice? We have the demand declining, but the supply declined much more. And this brought an even worse disease than greening, that is the high prices of the product, that may drop even more the demand. So now what we need is a reaction of the supply to match the demand again and keep it following the natural curve of lowering consumer preference. And I believe that things will happen because I love science. I love agribusiness, I love science. And there's something that I don't know if you all heard about, but there's something new coming, and this involves genetics. It's a work of more than 10 years being done in an organization called Fundecitrus in Brazil, together with a professor from Valencia, from Spain. And they discovered that the psyllid does not sit in the guava tree. And then they went to study why it doesn't sit in the guava tree. Because the guava tree has a smell. And the insect goes there and leaves. It doesn't sit, so he doesn't bite, he doesn't contaminate. The orange also has this cell, but it's not so strong as the one that you have in the guava. So what did they do? They removed the cell from the guava tree and put in the new orange tree. And now the orange tree has the natural repellent coming from the guava tree. But you know the amount of time that you're going to take to multiply the trees, the amount of time to plant, the amount of time to harvest, but there's solution. There's solution. There's biologicals. There are other products that are working as something to reduce the damage of greening. 47% of the trees in Brazil are contaminated. It's really a huge problem. But I think there's an opportunity for South Africa to expand for the fresh market and also for the industry, because with that part number 2, for the commodities that are like coffee, cocoa, citrus, what's going on with the prices of these commodities? They're suffering a lot with the climate change. So we are going to need more production in the world. It's easy to come back with the production of soybeans. The US is going to plant again, now in April, May, corn, soybeans, and in 4 months, all the soybeans going to be here. So if the price goes up, market reacts and it brings you back to reality 4 months after. What happened to orange? You have at least 3 years. So this is the problem that I think will deserve more expansion in the world. And creating opportunity for South Africa, because I've seen the numbers of CGA and of your industry. It's incredible the amount of jobs that you generate. It's incredible the amount of exports that you're bringing to the country. And you should also measure the amount of taxes that the industry pays, and also the amount of salaries that I haven't seen in the reports that you pay every month. You're going to see it's a huge amount of money that's being spent in cities and making pizza and making construction and a lot of other things, because it's the agribusiness that generates the income that then is distributed, and you are big income generators. I think this stamp should be more attached to CGA and to the orange and fruit industry of South Africa. Now, how do farmers win? And I'm going to the last 10 minutes to conclude. How can we win in this scenario? So first thing, I'm making you guys closer to me now. I think that there's no chance of winning without work. And I can tell you my experience. We lived in the US 3 years of my life. And I had the chance to be at the first time when my father was studying, I was a paper boy. The paper boy disappeared together with the collect call. There's no paper boys anymore. That was a very important function because we were delivering information for people. I made a lot of money at 10 years old. This was great for me, working 1.5 hours per day. Didn't disturb me to be a kid and to play with other people. And this made me a person that has obsession to work. Obsession to work. So this is something that I'm linked to governments that I see putting people ahead to work. It's the opposite of what's going on in Brazil, that you have all kinds of support for people that don't want to work. And now you see a lack of people to do agricultural activities, because most of them are receiving monthly support from the government. And we should change this behavior. People should work. So the first thing is that you're going to win with hard work as a farmer. But it's not nice if I do hard work in the wrong direction. So instead of delivering the newspapers, I would carry all of them to the river and throw. In Indiana, that's the place where I live. No, we have to deliver to the right apartment. So here is the 10 last minutes, bringing 10 points for you to win in agriculture in the coming years, and that will be your homework. The first topic is financial management. It's a pity to see farmers being destroyed in Brazil because of lack of financial management, and here's one decision that you should take every time that you're doing an investment. You're going to see that I wrote a phrase 6 times. Every time that you are taking a decision, always remember this. First, you should get better before you get bigger. First, you improve your margin. You pick up your hectare and make it more profitable than expanding, producing debt, high interest rates, and then getting worse. So first thing is financial management, that we should all be better before getting bigger. The second message is very, very important. The moments when you buy and when you sell. Of course, orange is not the same situation as corn, as soybeans, but you understand how this works. And if I buy well the fertilizer because I'm studying prices every day and I see the relationships, well, now it's a good moment to buy, if a good moment to sell. This is a second characteristic that I consider for winning farmers. It's incredible how they buy at the best moment and then they perceive the moment to sell, and they sell it, and they keep on building up margins because not only of their financial management, but because of the moments. This is very important. So that's the person who could sell soybeans at the beginning of the graph. You could see how much money he made more than the ones that sold when the market went down. So the third is choosing the crops. It's very important nowadays that we do the management of different crops in order to improve the soil and in order to reduce some of the diseases. And I would say that this is planning your soil usage for the next 10 years. Of course, if you're doing orange, it's going to be complicated because it's going to take 20 years. But if you are rotating, it's important to see which crops can add quality to your soil. Remember now that the soil's value is not only the hectare, it's the quality of the soil also. And there's a lot of technology going on in terms of soil regeneration. This is perfect for us to follow and to apply. The fourth one, operational excellence. So everything that we choose to do, we have to play at Champions League. That's the idea. If you have chosen to be an orange producer, you should be playing at the best championship in the world. That's the idea. So again, showing some pictures. If the technology is there, why am I still applying liters per hectare? Why am I putting product where it's not needed? Destroying my margin, destroying the results that I have. So again, we are in the moment of square meter management. We are in the moment of managing each plant. There's technology, there's drones, there's image. I'm a board member of a company in Brazil called Harven Agro, and it's incredible. Using drones, using image, they can help you to plan the way you're going to plant in your hectare, and you end up having more plants than your traditional way of planting. So there's technology all over. We should pay attention in order to search for operational excellence and to be innovative. To be innovative because you should try things. Don't have that terrible behavior. Oh, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. Try it. Try the technology because it may produce a more competitive farmer. So the growth of the future, this is a picture from Fundecitrus, it's going to have all types of technology. We should work with biological control, insecticide, irrigation, mechanical harvest. If we don't find mechanical harvest, I think in 5-6 years from now, at least in my country, there won't be people to harvest oranges. So we have a big problem ahead of us. Technology is almost there. We have some tests going on. As I told you, the plant improvements by breeding technologies, the guava story. Environmental excellence, another important thing to farmers. You can get money now based upon your carbon removal and fixing carbon in the soil. So we should be ahead of what's going on in terms of environment because, you know, when you have problems facing some markets, the barriers, most of them come in environmental aspects. So it's very, very important to be following the rules and to be linked to what the consumers want because, my friends, orange and orange juice, in my opinion, are going to be much more premium products. So they are hitting people that are thinking much more in terms of ESG than going to be a basic product of consumption. That's the idea, because it's getting more expensive and not everyone can afford to buy it. Obsession in controls is also very, very important. And my opinion is that farmers lack a lot in taking notes of every number, in comparing, in having these controls. At least in Brazil, they send me a message, Marcos, I have a certain amount of dollars for a bag of soybeans now, the future soybeans that I'm going to plant. And I ask them, what's your expected production cost? They don't know. Well, you don't know, sir. So if you don't know, we don't know if you're going to make money with the price they're offering. So that's the idea. We should measure everything. We should try to do things well, because this will help a lot in our management. Another characteristic of farmers is leadership in people. This is the theme of the company that I built. So we should keep our employees, we should train our employees, we should build up programs for them to receive parts of your profits, participation programs, because you need to retain them, you need to train them. You know, a farm is much more competitive if you have competitive people helping you, and people that want to stay for their life working with you. I think that's one topic that I feel a lot farmers need to improve in the way they inspire, in the way they build talents and others. Image and communication. My friends, you guys that had the collect call, now you have a phone and you became a movie maker. So build up the Instagram of your farm. Tape your activities. Put it up there, it's so easy. Suddenly you're going to see a retired fire controller in Joburg, he's following you. And then he can understand that the juice that he drinks was not born in the supermarket. There's a chain behind. There's difficulties. There's diseases. So there's a way now, there's a revolution in how we can communicate, in how we can talk. So it's very, very important to do this type of activities, improving image and communication. Just a small example. Look at this butter that I bought in the US. It almost jumped into my trolley, into the car. Look at the message. It's so nice. It's Land O'Lakes. It's a co-op. Now, it doesn't need to be a co-op to do something like that. You can do it as CGA, as an association, but look at that. With this purchase, you support American farmers and their communities. When farmers win, we all win. So that's the idea. Showing people what you do, showing people the hard work that you do, showing people the value that you bring to society. You're not doing this. We should improve that. And it's not difficult. It's in the package. It's in Instagram. I'm not telling you to do advertising program in TV, getting a lot of money and asking CGA to ask the double money for you. No, it's doing the things that are almost for free. In the packaging, in Instagram, that's the creation that we need in terms of image and communication. And the last point where we should all improve is in our collectivist spirit, collectivist approach. So we should empower CGA. We should empower AgBiz. We should empower our organizations that are dealing with agriculture. You know, I understand a bit of South Africa and a lot of Brazil. Brazil has, at this moment, a group in our federal deputies, that is the rural lobby, that avoids the bad things to happen in the country. Because if we were dependent on the judiciary power of Brazil and the executive power, what they want? They want cash. They want taxes. They want to forbid exports because of the prices, to control inflation. Their mindset is 1970. It's not a mindset of entrepreneurs, of generating value, of hard work, of producing, generating income, generating jobs. They always want the easy things. And it's very easy now that the beef is expensive. Brazil puts 25% of the beef of the world. It's very easy now to, okay, let's put a quota. and the rest goes to the internal market. It doesn't matter if it destroys the margin, destroys the cattle producer, and we're going to create a much bigger problem 2 or 3 years ahead. But the important is the populism, is the measure now. What happens? They try, and then we have our rural lobby in Congress that doesn't allow anything to be approved that's against the production. So it's how did we build this? Strong associations, supporting candidates, supporting people for them to take over and to be the majority. At least we have in our legislative power strength to avoid the problems of a populist, left-handed government in the executive and a judiciary that is totally not linked to what is a business, to how to generate income, because their income is always protected, is always guaranteed, and they think it grows like grass. So that's the idea of why you should be much more collective action. And the 300 that we have there, they are from left to right. But they're all defending agriculture, and that's the only thing they do together, defend agriculture. All other topics they're not doing. So I think it's very, very important to improve as a farmer. And I will ask you, the ones that took pictures, I will ask you now to go back to your pictures and see beautiful things going on in terms of collective actions. Have you had a chance to visit this area? This could be an example to South Africa. I was there last year. I never heard about what they've done. But look at the greenhouses. 2 cities are supplying all this value to Europe. Incredible. It was one of the poorest areas of Spain. Now it's an area that's producing a lot, exporting, and based upon collective actions, based upon planning, based upon strengthening what they're doing. So that's one example. Another example, we were there in the US at the farm show, Farm Progress. And look, when you get to the airport, you get the sign, Iowa's Sustainable Future. And then when you go to the mall in Des Moines, you see something like this. It's not that, look at the phrase, it's so nice. It's not that corn grows in Iowa. Corn grows Iowa. Look at the difference. It's not because the corn is being produced there. Corn is growing the state. And they're communicating this to the final consumer. And you can do this always organized, collectively, in a creative way, not expensive, to show really the value that you bring to South African society and other societies that are represented by CGA. So as I told you, now you may go back to your phone. You may clean all the pictures. If you put the pictures in WhatsApp group, you may delete it before people look at it, because I produced just one picture for you. That is how you're going to win in 2050, 2025, with the beautiful logo of CGA and the summit, so you can remember the presentation. So again, when you go back to your home, look at these 10 points and see how you can improve in all these 10 points. For CGA, let's put this in the service that we offer to farmers. We have to make them more competitive in all these points here, because then they will be competitive in agriculture. That's what we need. And you are participating in a lovely industry. I'm in love in agriculture because it delivers to us food, it delivers to us fun, it delivers to us collective moments, because normally we eat and we drink together with each other, we talk, and it's a marvelous industry. So this is why this is my homework for you to win in agriculture in the future. Thanks a lot for your attention and for the invitation for me to be here.